Monday, and we're in April. I think it's Monday, April 17th today, and I'm answering questions based on the insights from this book. You Are the Universe, discoveringyourcosmicself.com. And the discussions are right here on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. And so today I'm answering a question from Joy1663. Joy1663. Hi, Joy. And Joy asks, I have read about the observer effect before, and I've been reading about it here again. I'm wondering about the creative power of a blind person. If we create our reality through observation and expectation, what does this imply about someone who has been blind from birth and so cannot observe and has no expectation? So, Joy, the observer effect actually refers to something quite different from what you're suggesting in your question. So, in quantum mechanics, the observer effect refers to the changes that the act of observation will make on a phenomenon being observed. The observation, of course, in quantum mechanics is through instruments, and so the observer effect frequently also refers to the fact that what is measured changes upon the act of measurement in some manner. So actually in popular literature, frequently I've seen Max Planck being quoted: when you change the way you see things, that which you see changes. Cheryl Goldman, did you get your wallet? No, not yet. But I have already detached, so that's okay. So when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. So in answer to your question, Joy, looking here doesn't mean visual experience only. It can be any perception, any measurement, including through an instrument. Marilyn Bruno, found your wallet? No, I haven't found my wallet, but I've detached. Let me continue with this description. I don't want to be distracted. So when you change the way you look at things, what you look at will change. But looking is not here meant to be just referring to a visual observation. It can be any measurement, even through an instrument, and the measurement can be experienced in so many ways: the click of a Geiger counter, or a sound, or a tactile experience, and so on. So observer effect really is referring only to the act of measurement. And in quantum mechanics, people talk about something called the measurement problem. And this measurement problem refers to how or whether a wave function collapse occurs. So a wave function is basically a statistical probability, a mathematical entity. A wave function in quantum mechanics is a description of the quantum state of a system. It's a complex valued probability amplitude, which describes the probabilities for the possible results of measurement made of a system, and the calculations probabilities of what we can call space-time events. So, these are quantum mechanical terms that basically are very good for making calculations. But in my opinion, they have nothing to do with the creation of reality. So here is my answer. The only reality that exists is the presence of being. The only reality that exists is the presence of awareness. Presence, awareness, existence. And this reality is formless and has no location in space-time. When we talk about creating reality every day in everyday terms, we are talking about our experience as perception and as cognition. Ravi Samuels has ordered your new book. Can't wait to read it. Thank you, Ravi. Let me know after you read it what you think. So I'm going back now to this question. The real reality is you. And you is being. You is awareness. You is the presence in which all experience occurs. I've said this many, many, many times. All experience is in time, but you are not in time. So when people talk about creating reality, they're actually talking about creating an experience. The experience, of course, as we now know, is very momentary. It is born and dies in every moment of the experience itself. All experience is in the past. All experience is in the past. So by the time you listen to my words, what you're listening to has already happened. And so all experience is, in a sense, a dream. But you, the presence, the awareness in which that happens is not the dream, because it's projecting the dream. But again, when most people talk about creating reality, they're speaking of how to, in a sense, dream the dream they want to dream, to produce the dream, to direct the dream, to experience the dream, to be the hero of the dream, the protagonist, and the producer, the director, and every aspect of the dream is you. When you're dreaming, at night particularly, then you are in the dream. There are other characters in the dream, and then there is the location of the dream. Let's say I'm dreaming that I'm playing golf with Clint Eastwood in Pebble Beach. Then in the dream I am playing the role of me, Deepak, but Clint Eastwood is also, in a sense, me, because it's my dream, and so is Pebble Beach, and so is the golf club. So in the deeper domain, all these characters, Clint Eastwood, the golf clubs, the beach, Pebble Beach, the golf course, me, and the spectators are all in the same awareness. That's true in the dream at night, but that's also true in the dream that we call the waking state, because in the waking state there's me, there's you, there's this room, there's all that is happening, and it's all part of this experience in awareness. So the real I is the awareness that is dreaming Deepak Chopra, all of you, and this computer, and my notes, and the book, and my coffee cup, and the coffee. It's all one differentiated expression of awareness. So I am not only all the characters in the dream, I am also the scenery in which the dream is happening. I is the ultimate seer, and in the deeper reality, the seer and the scenery are one. Now, how does this help? Well, it helps in dreaming the reality that you want to experience on a perceptual and cognitive level, but it is not. Reality. Reality is the awareness that dream is happening in. Kelly, Calvert, and 10 others shared your video. Thank you. I really appreciate this. The more we expand this conversation, the more we'll expand our awareness. So join us on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. Okay. Sorry for the interruption, but I had to address what I saw on the screen in my dream. Okay, now, what I thought is, let me summarize some bullet points that actually totally summarize or put in one place everything that you want to know about reality and about how to create reality, the experience of reality. Kiana Nelson shared. Thank you, Kiana. Okay, I'm not going to interrupt now. I'm going to read you the bullet points from my notes. So, bullet point number 1. Whenever we use the word we or I, it is consciousness that is being referred to. Okay? Consciousness, awareness, just being that is being referred to. Number 2, mind, body, universe are experienced in consciousness alone. So the mind is in you, the body is in you, and the universe is in you as an experience. Number 3, consciousness is that in which all experience occurs, all experience is known, and out of which all experience is made. That's Rupert Spira's definition. We can elaborate on that. It is the knowing element in every experience. Even the interpretation of the experience is in awareness or consciousness. Bullet point number 4, fundamental experience is in the form of sense perceptions, other sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. I think that's very clear. A color, a shape, if you see this, you'll call it a hand, but it's a shape and a color. And this too is a shape and a color. And when they're next to each other, actually, there's no separation between them. It's just a shape and a color that suggests separation. When they're apart, then you have in between the space, which is not empty, but it's, in a sense, at the level of the vacuum or the plenum void, as it's called. It's full of energy, information, but it can't be seen. So there's no loss of continuity, but there's no border between this and this and this. It's all one thing. But as a result of perception, we see multitudes of things. So point number 5, experiences are modifications of consciousness. Thoughts and perceptions are also modified forms of consciousness. So all experience is a modified form of consciousness. Point number 6, you cannot separate an object from the perception of it. You cannot separate this from the experience of it. You cannot separate this from the experience of it, or this from the experience of it, or that from the experience of it. Number 7, consciousness is non-local. Non-local means is not located in space-time because it is formless, spaceless, timeless. Point number 8, humans, you and I, are a species of consciousness that have created modes of experience, or models of experience, or constructs of basic experience, which are called qualia, qualities of experience, those very same sense perceptions, sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. Okay, so we create models, and models are constructs. We take these qualia, mix them up, create a construct around it, and then we give them names like mind, body, universe. These are human constructs conceptualized in consciousness, and in this sense, the world we experience is our simulation. That's why the title of this book, You Are the Universe, which means the universe is made out of you and your self-interactions that experience the self as all the scenery as well. That includes the entire universe. Number 10, consciousness is personal, but it is also interpersonal. It is also collective. It is also transpersonal and even trans-species. You share awareness with your dog, with your cat, without a clue to the actual experience that the dog or the cat is having. Okay. So, when I say universal consciousness, I do not mean extending in endless space or in endless space-time. I just mean totally formless and therefore not in space-time. When physicists describe what they call Hilbert space, they say it is both infinitely dimensional and also dimensionless. So what is infinite has no dimensions because it has no borders. So you are in the deepest level of reality. You have no borders, you have no well-defined edges. Even your body that you observe as physical is actually a bunch of qualia that have no borders with other qualia. Sound, sensation, images, they're all the modifications of the one consciousness. So we are a human consciousness having a human experience through a human nervous system of a human universe. We are a species of consciousness. We are formless being, but a particular species of that formless being. Point number 11, all sentient beings, which is all species of consciousness, are extensions of our one consciousness, and they are conditioned aspects of that one consciousness, which is pure consciousness. So you and I are conditioned aspects of the one consciousness, human conditioning, but also conditioning through so many things, culture, history, religion, etc. Point number 10, consciousness cannot be visualized or perceived, but modifies itself into images, thoughts, feelings, sense perceptions. Consciousness cannot be seen. It is the one that is seeing itself as its modified forms that we call mind, body, universe. Number 13, our fundamental being is just that. Being, awareness, nothing else. So in this sense, Descartes was incorrect when he said, I think, therefore I am. It's the other way around. I am, therefore I think. Before a thought arises, there is awareness. So too, before images or perceptions arise, there is awareness. You must have awareness before there is experience. Point number 14, awareness, consciousness is the common ground of all experience. Awareness is one, experiences are innumerable because perceptions are innumerable. So you and I have a different experience of body, mind, and perceptual reality depending upon our location in space-time and our conditioning, but the awareness in which that experience is happening is just one. Point number 15, the objectification of experience creates what some people might refer to as a simulation. So the objectification of experience creates the simulation or the construct of an objective world, but all that we call the objective world, and the subject of that experience is awareness itself. Point number 16, the real you is not the body-mind universe. The real you is not the body-mind universe. Of course, body-mind universe go together as a unified experience, but the formless being who experiences body-mind universe as an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, perceptions. Point number 17. By objectifying experience, we created an external world, or the experience of an external world. We learn to quantify it, measure it, tabulate it, create what we call the periodic table, phyla, the phylogenetic charts of all species. But we forgot that these are all human constructs around raw experience. Human constructs, which is self-interaction, and then the interpretation of self-interaction. What consciousness experts call the hard problem of consciousness is actually non-existent when you understand that consciousness, the ontological primitive, that all there is consciousness and its modifications as experience. And consciousness is non-local, eternal, timeless, spaceless, immortal. And so are its modifications as qualia. A particular lifetime is a qualia program. Birth is the beginning of a qualia program, and death is the end of the same qualia program. Okay, so there's no hard problem of consciousness if consciousness is fundamental and experience is modification of consciousness. Point number 19, the laws of nature are actually the regularities of experience. Point number 20, God as conceptualized by religions is also a human construct. Why? Because anything that you give a name to is a description and a knowing of experience, which is a modification of your own self. So science cannot explain experience because science is based on a physicalist ontology, and science cannot even explain the experience of doing science. So what we're dealing with science is human constructs, whether it's the Big Bang, and what religion is dealing with is also human constructs called God. So both God and the Big Bang and the entire universe are human constructs. This is not to denigrate science. Science is the greatest adventure that consciousness has undertaken because it has produced technology, both divine and diabolical. But it is a great adventure. This is my point number 22. Point number 21 was science cannot explain experience if it tries to explain experience through physical matter, including the brain. Point number 23, a science within consciousness would be holistic and create more humility for us, and would be a more responsible science because it would not exclude the observer and from that which is observed, because both the observer and observed are one. Point, that's number 23. Point number 24, the goal of existence is to actually know who we are. The awareness of existence, the presence of awareness. And this leads to my point number 25. This understanding and experience could lead to a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier and happier world. I know I've said a lot. These are very important 20 points, 25 points in order to understand the nature of reality. So, I've been engaging with a lot of physicists recently, and I found in my notes a very articulate expression from a physicist in my notes, as I said in my email, and this was in response to this kind of discussion, because physicists in general try their best to explain consciousness as a physical phenomenon. So this physicist who responded in the email, he said, none of you seem capable of rational, objective, critical thinking on this topic of consciousness. It is not a physical phenomenon. And everyone who is rational and objective enough to understand reality will know that physical phenomena and phenomena in general are ultimately perceptual in nature and subject to observational replication. That's why they call physics an empirical science. But consciousness is not. Consciousness cannot be objectively, replicably observed. Its so-called physical correlates, including brains and behaviors, can be replicably observed, and it can be subjectively apprehended by any conscious entity. But that's it. Anyone who denies this understands neither physics nor consciousness and has a severe logical problem to boot, inasmuch as he or she cannot properly distinguish between cognition and perceptions or internal and external states. Okay, so I know this is technical, but here is my final message. If you can perceive it, if you can touch it, if you can taste it, if you can smell it, if you can think about it, if you can imagine it, it's a modification in some way of awareness into that experience. And the experience arises and subsides in an eternal now. But you that modifies itself as the experience of mind, body and universe are the eternal now itself, in which both the seer, the scenery and the process of seeing arise and subside in every moment. Eternal moment, a moment that never ends, which is called now. Which is called now. Reality is you. Everything else is a modified form of you. So once again, you are the universe. You are eternal and timeless. You are eternal and timeless. Bhagavad Gita. Water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot shatter it, fire cannot burn it. You were never born, and you are not subject to death. Take care, okay? We will talk more about this later.